The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azalina, and I'm joined by a guy who's doing birdies and beer double time tonight.
I am.
Regzy Boo, you got back-to-backs.
I am back-to-backing it tonight. One way and now the other way and flip-flopping and just trying to power through it, man. We should have
done a crossover.
I was thinking about that, considering we're talking about the Sixers, but our good buddy Banksy needed to shower up and eat a little bit, so I don't know if he was quite podcast ready at the moment. But we got to get our Masters recap out to the people. We got to get our Sixers preview out to the people. So just burning the 830 oil, for the good of the brand, man, for the good of the brand. You're
burning on both ends of the candle. Is that the phrase? Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I listen, pulling double duty. I need to talk about my own double duty this week.
Yeah.
So I was in Knoxville, as you know. We recorded from the hotel room. And I was there doing my full-time gig, right? Like I was there working with a school, and which was a blast. But I was assumed to be someone that I'd love to be, but I'm not. Which was a professional scout,
yeah.
by 8 different people in Knoxville.
That's hilarious.
Regz, it started at the school, and I just figured whatever, they're high school kids.
Yeah.
I was dressed in khakis and an Under Armour polo shirt, so I could see that. I was walking around with a notebook. I was walking around with someone from the district office.
Yeah.
So it made sense that 3 or 4 kids were like, yo, are you a scout? And so that made sense to me. But then it continued throughout the week and ended at the high school. And then it was just wherever I went. So I went to a Tennessee baseball game, and an usher asked me as I was walking in to my seat, he's like, oh, the scout section's down there. I was like, I'm not a scout.
You should have just went for it.
I should have, but
you could have sat in the dugout.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of the week, I was all in.
Yeah.
I think I texted you. I was like, I've accepted.
You were, yep.
And then the morning after the Tennessee game, I was on the elevator, and there was a gentleman on the elevator. He's like, "You here for pleasure or business?" I was like, "Oh, I'm here for work." And he looks at me. He goes, "Are you a scout?" And I was like, "Dude, you are the 4th person to say that to me in 3 days."
That's nuts.
And he laughed, and he's like, "We get a lot of scouts around in Tennessee." He's like, I'm from Nashville, but I'm staying here on business."
Yeah.
And he's like, we get scouts all over the place, especially right around Knoxville because of the college.
Right.
And there's a lot of good athletes. So then I was at a bar eating dinner by myself. And I actually did a couple of bars that night, and both bartenders asked me while I was there, because I have the Pennsylvania driver's license. So when they ID'd me, they saw us from Pennsylvania. So they just naturally to strike up a conversation, because they were nice people. Everybody there was nice. They were both like, "So what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, let me ask you, what do you think I do?" That's what I said to the first guy. And he's like, I had the baseballism hat on. He's like, "Are you a scout?" And at that point I was just like, yeah.
I mean, at that point, why wouldn't you?
I just had a full-on conversation about the guy about scouting. Now, he said, "What team?" I was like, "I'm really not allowed to say." He's like, "Who are you here to watch?" I was like, "I'm really not allowed to say." And he was totally cool about it. And then I went to the next place, and the girl was just she just straight up said. Now, I was wearing the polo, and I was wearing, and I had the hat on. So again, look, if this is what the conversation is going to look like, I'm curious to know if that's what it looks like wherever I go.
I was about to say, this feels like a very location-based sort of, response to this question.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I'll be going to California, and I'll be right outside of Wichita State. So I don't know. We'll see, man. It'll be interesting. It'll be
that's so funny.
And it's good because I know enough about the game that I can talk to it.
Yeah, right.
And make it. Because it's easier to explain that as my job than what my job actually is. So if people want to assume that's what I do, then what the heck?
There you go. It's like exactly what you would want them to assume you do.
Baseball scouts that are out there, if I shame you in any way, I apologize.
Or just, send us in some stuff he should talk about to really like go deep into it. He's like practically undercover.
Undercover scout.
Yeah, there you go.
I will say this. There are a couple dudes on that Tennessee team that if I were scouting, I'd be like all over them for the Phillies. One of them is a big left-handed first baseman who hit 2 absolute moonshots.
Yeah, you texted me about immediately.
Oh my gosh. Like just destroyed baseballs, like over the bullpen in right field, both of them just crushed. So maybe, one day.
Really funny.
Really fun. Really, really fun. And I think I should probably be scouting for the Phillies because what the heck?
Yeah, why not at this point?
What the F, Regz? We're not going to spend a lot of time here tonight, but we're going to just do a quick, what is your biggest complaint right now about this baseball team? Because there are a lot.
Yeah.
There are a lot. But what would you say is this has got to stop thing?
Topper with the lineup. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of seeing Pache in against lefties there's no reason. At this point, there's no reason.
Agreed.
There's no reason Josh Harrison should be batting 6th for you.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't happen. I don't care who the pitcher is. If Marsh and Stott start to go a combined 0 for 40, okay, maybe you can think about switching it up for a game just to give them a breather. But really, before then, I see no reason to ever have those two in the lineup at the same time, unless it's for defensive substitutions at the end of a game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so tired of it. I don't know why this is a thing. I don't know why he's so obsessed with this. Just put your starters out there, man. This is who you want them to be. You want, in a playoff situation, are you going to put Josh Harrison and Christian Pache in the game? Why? I don't understand. Why take these guys away from meaningful at-bats against left-handed pitchers? Why do it? It just...
So what would be your lineup right now? Because I'm okay with Jake Cave playing. If you want to platoon Cave and Pache, fine. That's fine. If that's the platoon you want to have,
I don't mind that. I'm tired of seeing Marsh out of the lineups.
Right. So what would it be? Because I think my complaint's sort of similar. I'm going to do a different one. It's placement of guys for me, not as much the platoon. I don't like that, but it's placement of guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of comboed into mine, but you can speak more to that. Let's just talk about where I want to see guys playing all the time.
Okay.
I think it should be, for right now, Bowman first, Stott second, Turner shortstop, Sosa third. I'll just say Cave with Schwarber DHing. Let's just say that. Cave left, Marsh center, Castellanos right.
Yeah.
JT
and I think
catching.
That's fair because Schwarber can't really move well right
now. Again, I don't mind how Jake Cave has been playing. Especially if you're just hitting him 8th or 9th down there with Sosa. Who cares? Yeah. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Brandon Marsh should not come out of your lineup unless he's hurt. This guy is proving that he's turning himself into the prospect that everyone imagined him to be. Mm-hmm. As a starter in a premium position. You can't keep sitting this guy on the bench every other day. It doesn't make sense. So I'm tired of the lineup flip-flopping. I'm tired of these guys coming out of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And since you went the position route, I'll go the lineup route and what's driving me nuts. And I'll do my other one too with biggest complaint. But right now, if I agree with you, it needs to be consistent in terms of who's out there every day and where they're at in the order every day.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm tired of JT Realmuto hitting above Alec Bohm.
Yep.
It's exhausting. So for me right now, I'm okay with either Stott or Turner leading off and the other one hitting second. Preferably, I do. I mean, if you want to do the righty lefty thing, let's just do this for fun. I love Stott leading off, so I don't really want this, but I know how Topper thinks. And if I can compromise with Topper, it would be Turner, Stott, Bohm, Schwarber hitting fourth, Casty behind Schwarber at fifth. And then I would probably do Marsh sixth, Real Muto seventh, Cave eighth, and Sosa ninth.
Yeah.
And then when Bryce is back, I'm doing what he has right now, which is Stott, Turner, Bryce third.
Yep.
Casty fourth or Bohm fourth, depending on what you want to do there. Schwarber hitting behind him and Casty or Bohm hitting sixth. And then you're able to sort of navigate the bottom of the order with probably Cave playing left field hitting ninth. But especially if Bryce is going to play first. So I don't know. I'm really baffled right now at the way Topper's kind of handling things. I think for me, the biggest complaint is he's managing these games like October. That game against the Marlins, what did I text you?
Oh gosh, there's so many texts.
Well, the late inning when they lost in extras.
Oh God.
They had the 2-1 lead.
Yep.
And they brought in Alvarado, and what did I say?
Oh, that he never gets back up.
Right.
Never.
Ever gets back up.
No.
Ever.
It's never good.
When they tried it in the past, it wasn't
never good. Never.
So I did what I would have preferred was with it being 8-9-1 in the seventh, you go to Sir Anthony or Soto or Kimbrel there.
Yeah.
And hopefully get through it and use Alvarado for 2, 3, 4.
Right.
But don't bring him out for 2 innings.
No.
Like, I'm not sure what that was all about. And he paid for it.
Yeah. And his reasoning afterwards doesn't make any sense.
What was his reasoning? I didn't hear it.
I don't even know if he had a good reason. He just said that they wanted him to go back out there. Like, I don't really know how a guy whose MO is knowing everything about everything wouldn't understand that this guy cannot sit down and then get back out there.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't want to kill Topper. Because I like the guy. I feel like it was an over-managing situation. I feel like he's been over-managing a little bit. He's done it with the lineup. We're seeing it with the bullpen. I mean, now Alvarado's out there tonight. He's got 2 strikeouts and 2 hitters, and he's in the middle of their order. He's pitching a 3-4.
This is exactly where he should be.
This is when he comes in the game.
Yes.
And he did what he should have done against the Marlins tonight. He used Sir Anthony against the bottom part of the order.
Right. Until Sir Anthony can show that he's back to being himself.
And he will. He started this way last year. But Alvarado comes in for this middle of the order.
Yep.
And hopefully you stave off the lead, and then Kimbrel's pitching to 6, 7, 8 in the ninth. That's the goal here.
Yeah. Or Soto even, or Strom when he comes back.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Again, it's not going to always have to be Kimbrel.
Ranger's not super far. Ranger's not far away.
No, I think again, and then if you're going to roll out some combination of Sir Anthony, Soto, and Alvarado, when those guys all get it, have it going, that's nightmare fuel.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. It's just,
but this overplaying, this over managing stuff has to stop. It's got to stop.
Yeah. He's got to chill.
Yeah.
And again, I love the guy. I'll always love the guy, especially after last year.
I just think he's thinking too much. He's
it's been a huge letdown.
Oh yeah.
And again, the players have to perform. We talk about this all the time, and I think what we're struggling with early is the big name guys aren't getting the hits when they have to. Now tonight they've cashed in in a few different spots, and that's great. But the young dudes have taken their steps forward. Now it's time for the veterans to step up. Outside of Castellanos, there's just not a lot of consistency in that way. So
yeah, and I mean, again, after the first 3 innings, they're 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position.
Yep.
This game could easily be 9-1.
Yep.
If they did anything like what the Reds did yesterday and had 6 or 7 2-out hits that all scored a run. Like, they just can't do it. They can't step up and get that next hit. Or when there's first and third with nobody out, like Jake Cave hits a weak pop-up to second base. You know what I mean? Like,
wasn't good at bat.
Yeah, like, you're professional baseball players. Like this, you know, or you should know this stuff going into your situation. When you step up to the plate, like, you should know what you need to do. I'm not saying it's always going to happen. Baseball is literally a game of failure. So I understand that it's not going to be perfect, but at least look like you're trying. At least just look like you're attempting to do it. And then if you get out, you get out. Like, okay. But like the way they're sort of not, they're looking like they don't even realize what's happening. They're looking like they're going up and they're not understanding the situation.
Yeah. Well, I again, it's so early. Like, they win a few games in a row here and we're like, okay.
I know. I still, you're absolutely right.
It's just hard to watch because it's not what we expected.
And again, there will probably be a 12-game stretch in the middle of the season where they go 4-8.
Yep.
Like, it's going to happen to everybody.
Yep.
But when you see, like, again, this is a ridiculous example, but like the Rays are 13-0.
Yeah.
And again, well, I don't think you can ever expect a team to start off undefeated for that long. Yeah. And I don't think, like, we just would have expected this to be reversed. Like, if they're 8-4 right now, no one's complaining. I think that would be perfectly acceptable.
A couple of things go different ways, and they are 8-4.
Yeah. I mean, but again, it's like, it's the inability for these guys to step up and make a play when they need it.
Well, there's plenty of time for that, and I do believe that they will. I still think that this is a really good baseball team, and they still have their best player coming back.
Yes.
So that is going to be enormous for them, and they're going to get their third best starter back. And by the way, hat tip to Taijuan Walker. He pitched really well tonight.
He did kind of.
This is the guy we thought we were getting.
Yeah. Again, I think the walks are still a little bit concerning. The velocity really was only topping out at like 94. I think he was at 96 the other day. Again, that's variance, more than likely. But that's what you hope. Like, you hope that these guys use this series against this lineup to sort of get themselves right. Yeah. Like, we need you to get yourself right in these games so you can go into games against the Mets or the Braves or name another good team, right, that we're going to eventually play. So you can be on your best foot when we get into those series.
Yeah. And by that point, again, we'll have Ranger because we don't play any of them for a little bit. Like, Ranger will be here. It's going to be fine. It's just frustrating right now. That's all. And it's going to get better. But, Regz, we did promise we weren't going to spend all of our time there this evening. We're going to talk about the other two teams. We've got a draft coming in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks from today, we will be on night 2 of the NFL draft. The Eagles will have 2 picks on night 2, in the second and third round. So, well, and potentially more, depending on
how it goes, right?
Depending on the results of this conversation. So, we're not doing a mock tonight. I'm gonna have a mock ready for Thursday of this week, and then a second mock. We'll try and do a show before the draft the following week. We'll try and do one early in the week or midweek that will give us our second mock. But for tonight, I think it's just the conversation of they've got pick 10 and they've got pick 30. What will they do is the question. There's been a lot of talk out and about that they could trade a pick or both picks back and add more picks, which isn't a bad thought, right? If you're moving back to like 17, you're picking up potentially a 3rd round pick this year and maybe a 4th round pick. You could potentially get a 1st round pick for next year and a 4th round pick for this year. If you trade down from 30 into the 2nd round, you're getting a 2nd round pick and potentially like a 4th or 5th round pick. And they don't have many day 3 picks this year. And you can find really good value there.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's conversation of, hey, Bijan Robinson might be there at 10. The Eagles don't really value running back, but holy crap, he and Jalen Hurts could be really scary in the backfield together because he is a freak show. So if he's sitting there at 10, do you do it? Jalen Carter has had legal trouble, but he was considered widely to be the best player in this draft. Could drop to 10. If he's there, do you do it? So I think the question that I'd like to ask you tonight is, you get to 10 and Bijan Robinson's on the board, Jalen Carter's on the board, and someone calls you in the late teens and offers you an early or their 1st for next year and a 3rd round for this year. Which of the 3 are you doing?
I think you're taking Carter.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to take the running back. I just think that they've proven year after year that Stoutland and this offensive line, especially with Kelsey back and it sort of falling into place, I don't think that there's a need for a guy like that who, after you're paying your quarterback, $35-40 million, like Bijan Robinson would, if all goes well, if you're sort of comping him to like a Saquon Barkley type, like, and it goes well, like that guy's going to want to get paid very quickly. And everyone knows that big running back contracts are just,
but you have time.
Sure.
You have time.
I just think with their proclivity for the trenches,
mm-hmm.
and I heard this on the Ringer podcast, the Philly special that they do, like having Davis and Nakobe Dean on your team as starters for this team, you would have to imagine they know as much as any other team in the league about this kid.
Yeah.
And if those 2 guys truly vouch for him, and especially Nakobe Dean is the captain of that team, of that defense, a couple years ago. So he's seen this kid and seen him play and, been the captain of that team. I think if those 2 guys vouch for him and he's still on the board, I think they take him because he's at a position of need. He's easily, again, like you said, one of the people who are like, this guy's the number 1 pick if all this stuff off the field doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And if he's got those 2 guys, sort of around being like, dude, this is your shot. Like, we're going to help. Like, we're not going to let you blow this, but like, you got to come in and be ready to do the work, man. Like, this team is not in a place where they're going to be okay with you, like, effing this up. So I think they take him. I think they take Carter. I don't think they would take Robinson. And I think they would. The only way I think they would trade out of it is if somehow one of these quarterbacks drops really low, mm-hmm. and someone's like, I'll give you more than would usually be required to get the number 10 pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. So one guy I didn't mention in this, and so I feel like it's unfair that I would say him, but someone to think about is Peter Skoronski, the tackle from Northwestern.
Yes.
Because, Lane is, as much as we love Lane, it's sort of like Jason. Mm-hmm. We're getting to a point where we got to consider drafting his replacement.
No, absolutely.
And Skoronski is that type of a player that could eventually become the successor. But, and I think that's the advantage the Eagles have right now. They don't have a glaring, we must do this
mm-hmm.
situation because they did sign another veteran tackle. So, do they need one? Yeah, they should probably get younger there. I'm not denying that. They should get younger at edge rusher too. Because that is where Howie likes to win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Skoronski's in that conversation. Now, you made a good point about Carter and the Georgia players. I did see something floating around online that like a source at Georgia said that, you know, Carter was always on his best behavior, which sounds really bad. Like that it just sounds bad.
Yeah, it sounds like a kid who's immature. Like, not shocking for an uber talented 17 and 18 and 19-year-old. Like,
right.
not the first time I think we've heard that about a super talented football player. You know what I mean? Like, in a non-public space, he's one way, but you know, he's trying to be on his best behavior in most other places because he understands, like, I can't not be playing football because I'm going to make so much money.
Well, so I what I read was that he was under his best behavior, on his best behavior when he was with Jordan Davis.
Right.
So, you know, and obviously Nakobe Dean's a big deal. Here's the other thing that I think Eagles fans have to remember. He's coming into a veteran locker room with a lot of veteran presence on his own, like in his own unit.
Yeah.
You know, not just Darius Slay, not just James Bradbury on the defensive side, but he's coming into a unit with Fletcher Cox. He's coming into a unit with Brandon Graham.
Yeah.
He's coming onto a unit with Hassan Reddick. You know, Kentavious Street is the veteran they picked up, who like another veteran. So I if I had my druthers, I would want it to be Jalen Carter if he's still there. I will say this. If the pick gets to 10 and Bijan Robinson and Jalen Carter are both on the board, I'm not going to be angry either way. Because here's what I'll say, Regz. What we found out last year was it's going to be really hard, no matter how good your defense is, to stop the really good offenses.
Yeah.
You have to be able to score. The Chiefs offense wasn't, or the Chiefs defense wasn't like a bunch of world beaters.
Yeah.
They had a superstar. They had one superstar. Other than that, there just wasn't a whole lot out. When we looked at their defenses, we were like, it's really not close. Even Kyle was on here saying, your defense is better.
Yeah.
But if you can score, you can score. And if they take Bijan Robinson, again, I'm not saying that's who I want, because I don't love the value of a running back in the first round.
Yeah.
I don't, especially with our offensive line. But what I can tell you is that this kid is an absolute highlight reel. And with he and Jalen Hurts running the read option with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert running around, I don't know if anybody's going to stop them at all. At all.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a great point. Like, this league is about offense. Like, we've seen it. The Chiefs continue to win their Super Bowls because they're the best offensive unit in the league. Like, when they get into these games, they just know that they can score on anybody.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you. I just think that historical running back sort of value, and how this is just going off of what we've seen this team do in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who the heck knows?
Right.
They could be in love with Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, well, he visited.
I know.
That
And
was
like-
a thing.
and
like
like
see,
that-
he visited.
And listen, that could be just, they could literally be like, this guy is our number one. Like, we're fine. Like, we'll find other things to fill these other holes in later rounds, but we're not going to pass on a guy with this talent to put him into a unit that, you know, is our best one on the whole team.
Yeah.
With a bunch of guys signed for a very long time that are going to play together for a while. So that very much could be the case. I'm with you. I don't think there's a wrong pick. I think the Bijan Robinson will be publicly bashed much more than the Carter one. So that's something that obviously the team is going to have to deal with. Like, Howie's going to have to deal with that. Sirianni's going to have to deal with that. That's just going to be the public perception of this stuff.
Yeah.
But again, from a talent perspective, either one of these kids is way up there. So you can't really get too mad about them sort of taking a shot on somebody. Like, this is not taking Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean? Like, this is not one of those situations.
No. It feels like if they both get to them, you're in a can't lose spot.
Yeah.
Like it is a win-win. And if Skoronski's there, win-win-win.
Yeah.
And if you want to trade back, one of those three could potentially still be there anyway.
Depending on what pick you get.
One more thing that dropped, and then we're gonna move into our last part of the show. Budda Baker from the Cardinals, one of the best safeties in the league, requested a trade today.
Oh.
And if I'm Howie, I'm calling and being like, I'll give you number 30. They don't have a safety.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a read pod,
course.
but like that's what we got, right? And we got the kid from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So I mean that'd be fine. But Budda is he's a dude, right? like he's a dude. So it would not surprise me if Howie was on the line. Now, if he demanded a trade, you don't necessarily have to offer a first, but because their back's against the wall,
right?
But if that truly is the case, which I mean, it was reported by your true sources like Shefty. So,
and again, the guy who is the head coach, literally, like you couldn't have much more of a connection.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a target for Howie going into the draft, because at that point, Regz, truly, when you look at the roster as constructed, you can draft best available player.
Yeah.
All across the board. The only true need that you could argue is the edge rusher, just because they don't have the depth there that, they do at other positions.
Yeah.
And you could say interior defensive line is continuing to be.
Yeah, you could say corner, like still need some depth, like all these things.
Yeah, outside of depth would be the piece, but you're truly looking at your board and saying we're going to take our best available.
Yeah.
Slot receiver is probably still a need. They're going to have to address that, but you don't pick a slot receiver in the first.
That's way down there.
Yeah, you take that in the second or the third round. You can push it even further, but there are some really nice looking targets that you can get on day 2 for that position. So I'm anxious. You know how much I love the draft. It's like one of my favorite things every year. So I'll be doing a mock. I'm going to do, I think, 2 mocks for each show. One's going to be where I just pick straight up, and another one's going to be where I make like a trade or two to add picks. So I'll do one of each to make it a little bit interesting.
Love it.
But before that, we have another playoff team, Regz.
We do.
We have another playoff team. We're buckling in for another playoff run. The 76ers tomorrow will kick off the NBA playoffs outside of the stupid play-in games. And they will host the Brooklyn Nets.
Why are there so many play-in games?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like its own little mini tournament. I don't like people lost, but they're still in it. Like I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, it's money. It's all money.
So confused.
Brother. It's all money, brother. That's what it is. Wow, the Phillies tacked on, Regz.
Listen, I've been smiling internally as you were talking about the Eagles draft.
Wow, tacking on. JT with a 2-out double, Bomer with a 2-out single.
Yeah.
Tagging on. So they're hosting the Nets. Ben Simmons will not be playing in the playoffs because he's a jamoke. But I think this is who we wanted. The Sixers are clearly favorites in this best of 7.
Yes.
They're just more talented top to bottom. But that's been the case in other playoff series that they've lost. So we're going to do what we usually do, which is we're going to go position by position and say who's got the ups, and we'll include the bench in that. I don't know if we'll do coach. I don't feel like doing coach because you know how I feel about Doc.
Yes.
Like get Doc, just get him out of my face. But let's run through that. We'll start at point guard. I mean, clearly the Sixers, I think when you look at the totality of the team, I'd say are a better team on paper. But when you break it down in position, there might be like a couple of areas of push.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a couple of areas of the Nets do have an advantage. But we'll start at point guard. James Harden and Spencer Dinwiddie. How about you go first for this one, and then we'll switch back and forth.
So I think the clear answer is Harden, but here's the caveat. Harden hasn't shown the same sort of burst and I guess burst is the right word, but since that sort of nice run that we went on, you know, where they were 12-4, you know, they went on a really nice run for a couple months there. Right. And reeled off a bunch of wins to get themselves back into third place and, you know, a game back from the Celtics, all those things. James was playing really, really well. And this kind of little ankle, calf, whatever injury came on. And again, who knows how serious it is? They obviously were very much cruising towards the end of the season. They were locked into that third spot. But this is not a series where you don't want to have half of James Harden. Like, this can be a very quick series if James Harden is playing how he has shown he's able to play with this team. This could be a very quick series. You don't want to like slog it out because he's a step slow. So the answer is still Harden, but I'm extremely interested to see how he looks in these games. And if he really was just kind of making sure that nothing bad was going to happen, you know, with this calf or whatever it was at the end of the season. So my hope is that that's the case, but I think either way, the pick is Harden.
Yeah, I think future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not. I'm making it sound closer than it is. It's really not close. But here's the thing about Dinwiddie, and the reason that I've always liked Dinwiddie is because of his athleticism and his length. Mm-hmm. And he can score a bunch of different ways. He's the type of guy who he can shoot over Harden. Mm-hmm. He can get by Harden because he's super athletic. And the Sixers always struggle with Spencer Dinwiddie because of his athleticism. Yep. And he'll carry you for a quarter here and there because of his ability to score in groups and bunches. I'll be curious to see what they do there if they move Harden off of him in any way. Yeah. I feel like the defensive matchups aren't going to be like 1-to-1. You know what I mean? Like I just think they're going to be a little bit different. I
don't see him having much success on Dinwiddie defensively.
No. No.
So I'll be curious but I agree with you. I think Harden's the clear, you know, he's still James Harden.
Yeah.
And I think one other thing with him is he did exactly what you talked about throughout the season, which was we want to see him lead the league in assists.
Yes.
And he did. He averaged almost 11 assists a game.
Yeah. It's exactly what he wanted to be.
He said he's going to be more aggressive in the postseason. So we'll see what that means. I will say this. Did you realize? I didn't realize this. He shot a career high from 3.
What was he at? Like 39?
Almost 39%. Yeah. I mean, that's good news.
It's literally what you wanted out of the guy.
Right.
Be that spot up shooter and be the playmaker for this team. Like he's an otherworldly passer of the basketball. Mm-hmm. Like that's who he is. So it was great when they were on those runs that he'd like sit right at 18 to 24, you know, on average. But like you said, those assists would be at 10, 12, 14 some nights.
Right.
And again, great shooting percentage from 3.
Yeah. So let's jump to the 2 guard. Maxey and Mikal Bridges.
I mean, right now, Bridges is playing like out of his absolute marbles.
I mean, and tell me there's not going to be a little bit of like gas in this series.
Yeah. This is your pick, so you go ahead. I
mean, but look, there's going to be gas. Like, we know what happened on draft night back how many years now? 5, 6 years? I can't remember when it was. Mm-hmm. But we know what happened. I mean, he's talked about it this week and how he was ticked off. You don't think he's going to come out here trying to just put it through them?
Yep.
And look, Tyrese Maxey to me is a guy that they should try and max the Sixers. I think he's that good. But I think what Bridges has done since being traded from the Suns, mixed with this idea of what the Sixers did all those years ago in trading him on draft night, I think he's not just the better player in this matchup, but I think after the name Joel Embiid might be the best player in the series. Just because of the way he's playing right now and what he's going to be playing with what's going to be driving him in this series. Just a couple of quick numbers on him. Since he's come over, he's averaging like 26 a game, shooting 38% from three. I mean, he's been really good as a scorer. Really good as a scorer, which he didn't have to do in Phoenix because of what they had.
Exactly. He was just an unbelievable like defensive player.
And I don't want to put away what Tyrese Maxey's done this year because he's shooting over 40% from three.
Yeah.
And he did have a slow go when he came back from injury, but I just don't think he wanted, like, coming off the bench didn't work for him.
No.
He's been much better since moving back into the starting role.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me the advantage is Brooklyn. I don't know if it's by as much as what we're making it out to be, because I still think at the end of the day, Tyrese Maxey's still a really good basketball player.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just Mikal Bridges is doing what he's doing right now, and he's got a little extra motivation this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, look, you have to put a little bit of recency bias in these conversations. Like, this is not, we're not giving out regular season awards. We're talking about going into this matchup, you know, who do we think is the better player? Like, you have to account for how Bridges has been playing. And it might go down as one of the all-time blunders of the Sixers. The dude had your hat on. His mother works for the team. He went to Villanova. Like, what else do you need, man, about a kid who's going to be motivated to play his absolute tail off for your team? Like, it might go down as literally an all-time blunder.
Yeah.
In like the franchise history.
Oh, for sure.
Like, this kid can play, man. And it's just, he's going to have a little something else. He's going to have an extra gear in this series for sure.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about
Also,
it.
shout out to him. Huge Phillies fan.
Huge
Absolutely
Phillies fan.
love it.
The guy loves the Phillies.
Maybe we get him on the podcast.
Maybe after the season.
Yeah.
He'll come on and listen, we're a Philly podcast.
Why not?
No doubt we're asking him about draft night, by the way.
Of course.
Yeah, remind me. I'll send him something.
We're going to do it.
All right. The 3 spot, the small forward, Toby and Cam Johnson. You're up.
I think this one is a slight edge to Toby, and I think this is just like overall as a player. I don't know, like Toby's been fine the past, let's just call it a couple weeks. Cam Johnson is nothing special. Like, the ability of the Nets is to just throw a bunch of guys out there who are athletic and long, can switch, on defense, all those kinds of things. Cam Johnson is not the scorer Toby can be. Cam Johnson is a better defensive player than Toby. But I think overall you have to give the slight edge to Toby here if he can play how we expect him to play.
So here's where I think Toby's going to come in and make a difference in this series. When I said before about moving James off of Spencer Dinwiddie, my thought was allowing Toby to guard him. Because Toby, I don't think gets enough credit for his defense, especially when he locks in on his ability to play defense.
Yeah.
We've seen him stop guys. Like, we've seen him guard Kevin Durant well.
Yeah.
Like, he can play defense. So I think that's where he makes a difference in this series. He's still so much of like, if he's going to score, he's got to go off the dribble a little bit, and he's not faster than anybody. If he catches fire on those catch and shoots, yeah, we're good. I agree with you. Like, Cam Johnson's fine.
Yeah.
But so for this one, I probably a little bit more than a slight edge, because I think what Toby can do defensively adds a little bit, and I think he's a little better than Cam offensively. So like it definitely gives him a little bit more. So yeah, I think the Sixers hold a pretty solid edge there. Power forward PJ Tucker, Dorian Finney-Smith. So it's funny to me because last year after the playoffs, when the Sixers lost to the Heat, we were on here saying we need a guy like PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
Like, we need that guy with a dog in him.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see that version of PJ Tucker, because I don't know that we've really seen a whole lot of that this year.
I mean, listen, the guy's what, 36?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think like regular season PJ Tucker is not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is literally just conserving as much energy as possible for the playoffs. And you have to imagine that's what the team is telling him also. Like, PJ, like, yeah, we're going to put you out there. Like, just do what you need to do. You know when we're going to need you. So
I think this is where PJ Tucker becomes a Philadelphia's favorite son. I think that he's had so many playoff tested series. He's been a part of so many good teams. He's tough. And I think we're about to see PJ Tucker at Philadelphia max. Like, we're about to, like, tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see for the first time, we're going to be like, yep, that's why he's here. I truly believe that. And again, Finney Dorian Smith, he's also a really good defender.
Oh yeah.
And he's the type of guy who can bury a couple triples and put you in a position as a team to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, when it comes to the playoffs, and I'm looking at playoff matchups specifically, I'm looking for battle-tested dudes who can make a difference in those moments. And I truly believe that PJ Tucker holds just a slight advantage because of that specific part of the game.
Yeah.
That he's the type of guy who can make a difference just with his experience, with his defense, with his ability to get into opposing teams' heads. I got the Sixers here.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
All right. Well, I don't know that we're going to spend a whole lot of time here. Joel Embiid and Nick Claxton.
Yeah, this is clearly obvious. It's Claxton, so we can just move on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Yeah, Joel Embiid looking like he's going to be not voted the NBA MVP, which they must have heard my Phixated that night.
I mean, you think he's not going to be?
No, I said I think he's going to be.
Oh, you said not going to be.
Did I?
Yeah, you subconsciously said not. I was like,
Well,
that doesn't
I mean,
sound right.
No, yeah, he's going to be the MVP.
Yes. So I think I was listening to Zach Lowe's podcast earlier today, actually, and they were going through all the matchups, and I think he made a great point. Zach just said, like, all right, Joel, you obviously the MVP has meant a lot to you, and you've been playing great, right? He's like, this is the series where you just come out and just say, F these Nets. Like, I am the best player on this court.
Yes.
And I am, like, we're not losing, like, a game of this series. Like, we're just not going to do it. We're going to win as quickly as possible, you know, get some rest, because we are the better team, and I will not allow us to, like, be dragged out by these guys.
Yeah.
Like, no one on this team can guard Joel Embiid. Yes, they're going to try and double team him, and, like, they have a lot of long athletic bodies to throw at him. But Joel Embiid is the best player on the floor by a mile.
It's not even
close.
It's not a conversation.
No one has gotten on Joel for his playoff performances because he's been great. But this is one of those series where the best players say, I'm not making, like, this isn't going to game 6, right? Or game 7. They go in with the mindset, I'm not letting this reach number 5. We're running the doors off these guys, and we're going home to relax.
And I hope that's it. I do. We haven't had that.
No.
Like, every series that we've ever had as Sixers fans in the playoffs has been like, it's felt like a grind.
Yes.
And honestly, Regz, this is the best Sixers team, I think, on paper that we've had in terms of depth. I truly believe that. Not just, I feel like we've always had, like, offensive depth, but I feel like we actually have guys who can come off the bench and guard and play actual defense in the postseason, which we haven't had before. Like Paul Reed will come and play defense.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Melton.
Anthony Melton will come off and play defense, and he can score a little bit. Jalen McDaniels, he can do that. Daniel House Jr., he can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, George Niang will come off the bench and bang a bunch of threes for you. He might go 0 for 5. He might go 5 for 5. You don't know, but the potential is always there.
Yeah.
And I just believe the only thing that concerns me with the Sixers bench is Niang defensively.
Yeah, sure.
He can get exposed real fast. But his shooting could negate that. Here's what I will tell you. Joe Harris will continue to kill us.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's what he does. And there is no doubt in my mind that Seth Curry is going to go off in one of these games.
Yeah, listen,
no doubt.
It's not like it's not inconceivable for the Nets to be able to win a game in this series.
Yeah.
But the Sixers are enough of a better team that they could make it so that this series is over in 4 games.
Agreed.
And that's what they need to be doing, because Boston doesn't have a hard matchup and neither does Milwaukee.
Correct.
Those are teams with championship experience who know the value of being able to finish a series and be able to go and sit and relax and get a breather in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Sixers have had to grind every series, and they just can't allow it to happen. They can't come out and have a flat game. Don't allow it to happen. Don't allow it to happen.
Come out tomorrow and just assert.
Yeah.
Tail between the legs. Let's make them
show these guys they have no chance.
Right. And here's the thing. So it's Saturday at 1, they kick it off, and then they'll play Monday at 7:30. With the travel days this year, they'll have 2 days off before they play again on Thursday night. When we record, they play at 7:30.
Okay.
So Regz and I will try and hold off until after the game to record. So that we have a recap of the first 3 games of the series and a little preview of hopefully what will be a shutdown game on Saturday afternoon. And they'll be done in 4. Honestly, though, Regz, I think the Nets will spare one. I think they'll get one in Brooklyn. And the Sixers will take it in 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my hope is that it doesn't go more than 5. You got to get out of this one as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You have the 2 best players on the court.
And you could arguably say 3. I still think Tyrese Maxey is there with Bridges.
Sure.
So if not, 3 of the top 4 players in the series are on your side of the ball.
Right.
Maybe even 4 of the top 5 with Tobias.
You just have to go out and get this thing done and dusted and go home and be able to rest.
Yeah. Let's not
mess around. Let's not do this.
No. Let's not take this thing further than it has to.
Let's not get to game 3 and just decide we're not playing today.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Let's go to game 4 and say, you know what, maybe we'll sit Joel. Let's do that.
Yeah. Let's be up by 30 in the 3rd quarter and he doesn't have to play.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just go through it.
Yep.
All right. Phixated. We've got, a baseball team struggling. We've got an NFL draft 2 weeks away. We've got Sixers playoffs starting tomorrow. But I'm fixated on the Jonas Brothers' new song, the Waffle House song. Regz.
Such a curveball.
I came into the show tonight playing it for you.
You literally texted me about it 4 times and was like, you listen to it before you come on. Which I did.
Let me just, real quickly. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a fine song. I'm not in obsession land like you are.
Okay, so here's the thing about me. When I find a song that I like, I do go to obsession land.
I am exactly with you. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
And it doesn't mean that, I'm sure there are songs that you love.
I literally was about to send you one.
That I would listen to and be like, all right, it's cool, it's fine.
I'm sure this would be the one I would send you.
All right, well, I'm hoping you send it to me. What is it? What's the song?
It's Ben Richter's live version of Steady Love. It's unbelievable.
I really like Ben Rector.
I can't wait to hear what you think.
It might be one that
I can't wait to hear what you think.
It might be one. I actually heard one the other night that I really, really love on a movie. And now I'm forgetting the name of it, but I put it on my writing playlist like immediately because of how much I loved it. But send me that, or I'll look it up then. Steady Love by Ben Rector, right?
The live version from Atlanta. Yeah.
The live version. Oh, the song that I loved is called Hard for Me.
Yeah.
By Michelle Maroney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really good. Really, really good. Anyway, back to Waffle House. So I don't know where I initially saw it. I think I was like scrolling social media and I saw like a TikTok or like a family that was like lip syncing it. And I was like, what is this? and then I was like, oh, it's a new Jonas Brothers song. It gets released tomorrow. So obviously on Friday, I do like the new music selection on Spotify. I listen to all like the new stuff that gets released on Friday. And it was the first song that popped up. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen. And I turned it on and I'm like, I freaking love this song. I freaking love it. And so I listened to it over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And once I think with music, I think this is like a normal thing where you listen to a song just at the beginning to listen to the song, but then you actually start listening to the lyrics of the song. And the lyrics of this song are all really family based. It's about like growing up in a family where you give each other shit all the time and you make fun of each other and you fight. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to like, you'll love one another anyway, no matter how much you piss each other off, no matter how much you bust each other up. At the end of the day, it all comes back to love. But like, it's so catchy. The chorus is so freaking catchy. So I got to tell you, like, it is right now the song that I told you I listened to it like the whole first hour of my flight today as I was reading my book.
Yep.
I just kept playing it back.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept playing it back. So if you have not listened to Waffle House by the Jonas Brothers, and let me add this, I don't even like the Jonas Brothers. Like, I'm a boy band guy in general. Like, I love the Backstreet Boys. I can get down with NSYNC. Like, I love Boys II Men.
Yeah.
But like, when people are like, "Oh, I'm going to see the Jonas Brothers. The Jonas Brothers are coming to Hershey," I'm like, I'm good. Like, I don't know that I can name you another one of their songs.
I love that. Oh my God, why can't I remember the name of it? I'm gonna feel so bad about this. Never mind. Keep going. I'll think of it.
Okay. Is it one of their songs?
Yeah. I'm with you. I haven't been a huge fan, but like this song to you, I listened to it 100 times.
I mean, I don't really love the Jonas. It's not. I don't like dislike them. Sucker.
Nope.
Leave Before You Love Me. I don't know. All I know.
What a man got to do.
What a man got to do. I'll have to listen to it.
It's so catchy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not. So that just shows you.
Listen.
That's on their top 5 list on Spotify.
Like I said, not a Jonas Brothers guy usually. No. But
I am so fixated on this song. I cannot stop listening to it.
Literally came on the podcast with it up to the microphone. Singing as loud as possible.
I might take us out to it too. I might take us out. No,
copyright. Don't do that. We're gonna get in trouble.
Oh, yeah,
don't do that.
Yeah.
We can't afford that.
Sorry. What is it? Nick, Joe, and Kyle? I don't even know.
Couldn't tell you the third guy's name.
Nick and Joe for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, listen, do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Listen to the Jonas Brothers song Waffle House because you will not regret it and you will listen to it over and over and over again. And while you're doing it, click subscribe below on the video. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening, go ahead and follow us, share it with somebody, tell them to like and subscribe wherever they get their podcasts as well. And, as always, follow B&B Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow the podcast at the Phixated Pod. You can follow me at the Mic Drop 5. Follow Regz at Big Regz with a Z. And you can follow us on the Phixated fan page with a PH on Facebook as well. Don't forget to click the merchandise link. Grab yourself something good. And, go listen to Waffle House.
Yeah.
Please. And also, Regz, we have not done this at all this year as we sign off, but take care, be good to yourself, be good to somebody else. We love you. We appreciate you. Go Sixers.
Yeah, go Sixers. Like, just get this done, boys. Let's go.
Like, let's go.
Let's go.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.